Greetings, film lovers. This is Von Fry, YouTube's #1 film commentator, and today we're doing a Hulu commentary on the 1993 sci-fi film Demolition Man, starring Sylvester Stallone and Wesley Snipes. If you'd like to queue up your copy of sorts as you stream this movie on Hulu alongside listening to this commentary, go ahead and go to 0000. This will be after you already gone past the this film's in rated R intended for audience, right? So you go through that, then you go back 0000, hit play now, and the first thing you'll actually see here is going to be that wavy Warner Brothers studio lot. Mixed feelings about the production logo here. I always prefer it when they use the logo that accompanied the film. When I see the old 60s, 70s, into the 80s 20th Century Fox logo, reminds me of like Die Hard, Planet of the Apes, Alien, Los Angeles 1996. Yes, guys, it only got worse. Look at those fires back there. A little bit Blade Runner like, ain't it? The cops all have Hummers. We want something with a little bit of a Terminator 2 vibe. Remember, Terminator 2, huge, very influential in the 90s. I am opening up a Larissa's Kitchen barbecue, Korean barbecue meat snack. Larissa's Kitchen, not sponsored. Alright, so this guy, John Spartan, that is Sylvester Stallone. He has to go rescue these hostages. This movie gets kind of a bad rap, I think, because people confuse it with Judge Dredd. It has a bit of a tone issue in that well, like many good action movies, the action is taken fairly seriously, but there's a lot of corniness in between, especially with like how disjointed the future is compared to this 1996. What? Come on, you want to yell Phoenix? Is this really the best plane to get on that rooftop? Take note, Sylvester Stallone wears a beret here, kind of like the Expendables. The beret, no real tactical advantage to the beret, is there? I want to do a commentary track on this movie in part because, as I stated in my review some time back, this is one of the most accurate depictions of what the future would become. It's really quite startling. And as the situation has unfolded in 2020, there may actually be more ways in which this film has become realistic or accurate in its prediction. We're getting a sort of interesting reveal here for Snipes. Wesley Snipes was a big deal. Passenger 57 was pretty big. It wasn't like huge with the box office, but pop culturally it did okay. White Men Can't Jump, maybe even a bigger deal for him. Really quite outlandishly dressed Snipes is in this movie. I'll get more into that later when we see his future getup. Who really thought the hostages were going to make it? Oh man, I need to open up a cold one. Where are the hostages? Cracking open a Dr. Pepper. This is not the first time Wesley Snipes is a villain. He's is it Nino Brown in a movie whose Honestly, the box art when I see it at the grocery store, little grocery store video, kind of made me think, oh hey, it's like Terminator 2 because the guy's got sunglasses. Walking into a trap. There is going to be a lot of grunting from Stallone in this movie. I think at some point he wanted to be more like Arnold Schwarzenegger. In Rambo 3, Rambo got a sense of humor. He's grunting like Arnold Schwarzenegger does in, say, Predator or any film where he's not an android. We just pause the fight here so that we can lay some foreshadowing. I'd lose my head if it weren't attached, right? Okay, okay. Really, you're gonna punch out super villain of Los Angeles 1996 and escort him out the building like this? They never really get into it, but it's like he's called the Demolition Man because every building he goes into just explodes. You don't get to see actual buildings collapse in movies today, even though the budgets are much higher. Kind of amazing how that works, isn't it? I'm supposed to come out here and arrest him. I've never seen him. That guy right there is the police captain in the Lethal Weapon films. Can't remember his name, but I think he's pals with, oh Christ, Richard Donner. This is an R-rated movie that plays a sort of light comedy vibe in many places, and I think a lot of people thought maybe this was more suitable for kids in a way. Like, in a way, Judge Dredd is R-rated, but would so get a PG-13 now. This, in fact, I'm as I say that, I need to look up and see if Judge Dredd 1995 is actually R-rated. I'm pretty sure it is. This movie is definitely R-rated. We're going to see some Stallone backsack coming up here. There is a unfortunate Skype call. Video telephone was going to be so cool in the 90s. It was one of those things like VR. There was a lot of promise in VR. Video phone calls, these things really didn't come in that decade when there was the most interest in them. You'll see a lot of familiar names here. Benjamin Bratt, Bob Gunton. I'll try to be pointing them out to you as we come across them. This is an interesting prison sentence scenario where it's like, okay, you're locked up, you don't experience being put away, but the ultimate punishment actually is the death penalty for your loved ones. Because when you wake up, it's going to be long enough. Look at that, Jesse Ventura, who's hardly in the movie, is mentioned here. By the time you wake up and you've served your time, you won't have any family. So sort of like this weird inverse death penalty wherein they punish, unbeknownst to them, punishing the family of the prosecutor. Now, why is he put in jail? Oh, you blew up the building. It had the hostages in it. Right. Yeah, you're telling me they were alive when the building blew up. Who really bought that? Come on. Oh no, we got to squirm and contort here. Try to hide our little Stallone. Oh boy, yeah, this is not a scene I would volunteer for. Looks like a lot could go wrong here. Oh, sorry if this bag. I swear, whoever invents the quiet snack bag will make all the money. Oh, we couldn't have had that out already and in hand. Let's pull it out now. And we drop our little magical pellet in there. Remember, guys, this is technology we get by 1996, so in 3 years, we're going to be able to freeze people without killing them. Oh, to pull off shots like this, I think this is less about having anything inside. You could you can make like a mannequin. You make like a model of a mold of Stallone and whoever, and you kind of just pull the camera in tight around them. I think there's a little bit of tell in the fingertips there. Otherwise, really quite a good mold and everything. Oh, time is going by. 2032. Still checking in on you. Yep, it looks like he's still there, guys. Exciting. You do want to, if you have an action film, you want to start with a pretty good amount of excitement. Okay, he jumps on, basically Bungie jumps onto the building, blows it up. Exciting enough for an intro. Gets everything going. Establishes, okay, we don't like Phoenix. We're with John Spartan. Simon Phoenix, for some reason that name really sticks with you. We're introduced now to Sandra Bullock. This would be the first time a lot of people would be seeing Sandra Bullock. She tweezed the eyebrows a bit much, but I want you to look at that car, especially in profile. Okay, granted, it's a little squat, it's a little lacking in width, but it is very reminiscent to a current Tesla Model S. This car, also, year 2032, right? This car is self-driving. Look at that. It has an LCD infotainment type screen. It's acting like a virtual cockpit, like my new Audi TTS has, where it puts the screen right in front of the driver. Granted, if the cars are driving themselves, what difference does the screen make other than to view stuff, not necessarily pertaining to driving? They do a very good job here with the matte paintings. I think those headrests are a bit cumbersome, but nonetheless, they look different, and sometimes the different is futuristic enough. They have a lot of nice looking variety of cars and things here. This is the future of graffiti, guys. At the time I saw this, I was unaware of how the graffiti worked here. I guess we're supposed to infer that's spray paint coming out of those cans, but it's done in such a digital way. I thought it was digital graffiti. See the Taco Bell logo there? This movie had a big tie-in with Taco Bell, but only in America. And the odd thing about that is, outside of America, Pizza Hut is the tie-in. The idea here being that Taco Bell is the only survivor of the franchise wars. You'd see Taco Bell ads. They go to Taco Bell, but they replace that with Pizza. Stallone says Pizza Hut. The Pizza Hut logo is present. They actually had to shoot two versions of everything. The police here, depicted in this movie, the 2032 cops are definitely friendlier than today's cops. Look at the way how people don't shake hands. How there's like this circle pattern. And it's so well rehearsed. It's part of their world. It's excellent world building in this movie. But that lack of shaking hands is another reason why I wanted to do a commentary on this, because now we have shunned shaking hands. I wonder what's going to replace it. It's probably going to be a quick nod, maybe a namaste, possibly the fist bump. There's Bob Gutton in his baldest role. He is a cop here, and you may best know him for also working with criminals as the horrendous warden in the Shawshank Redemption, right? The wardrobe here is a little reminiscent of Judge Dredd. I think there's a lot of points of where people can get these confused and misremember the movies. Verbal morality statute. You get a fine if you curse. So how frequent do these cursing printers need to be strewn about? Okay, so the thing with Sandra Bullock's character is that she is like a 90s pop culture junkie. There's a Lethal Weapon 3. We see a few knickknacks around a rather spacious office. Gotta wonder if all the cops have an office like this. Don't you ever want something to happen? Come on, we're cops, but there's nothing to police. Wouldn't it be exciting? Oh, you're getting your wish immediately. What I wouldn't give for some action. You're getting it. You know, they talk about prison being rehabilitate, assimilate back into society, right? When you're frozen, what have you gotten to rehabilitate? Well, what they do is they have some programs, and I guess they implant some stuff in you, whatever there's some kind of mind conditioning. It says 29 years of parole system, blah. Okay, parole was rendered obsolete. He's speaking Spanish. He's learning some new languages. Simon had been given alternate programs that have made him an even more of a supervillain for the future. The world's not ready for him. We'll see. John Spartan had something else in mind here. Okay, so those restraints really are going to have a voice-activated prompt. You're going to go to that kind of trouble. You're not going to just have a lock or a key mechanism, something on hand. The password for the cuffs. I wish I knew the password. How I knew the password, right? Well, the point is that there's a bit of a setup to this. Oh, this is going to get a little gruesome. Retina coding accepted. I wonder how. Well, got an eyeball on a pin. .187. Is 187 a murder? The future, there's cameras all over the place. They nailed that pretty well. You have to look up 187, MDK, Murder, Death, Kill. This is the first and really the only time I've heard of the term Murder, Death, Kill. It's very redundant. But there was a game, I think in like 97 on the PlayStation called MDK, and it stood for that. The camera is even diagnosing the people's conditions. All these cops standing around helpless. She's particularly hot. I don't even know who she is. Look at this. Nobody knows what to do about any of this. Three MDKs. Wow. How long's it been? Cocteau. I think that's the guy behind all this. I have to try to remember here how this goes about. It's Phoenix. I know about this. I'm an old timer. I was the chopper pilot back in the day. I'm telling you, he's a bad guy. Even a way you never read about. Of course, we have no police station that has this kind of high styling about it. Though that chair does not look like one I would want to be sitting in for lengthy hours. Coded before they started low-jacking everybody. So we're coming up with some kind of reasoning here behind how he can't be tracked. All right? Kind of trying to cut that off. So if you unfroze a guy who is recently frozen, what would he be like unfrozen? I mean, who is that actress with the short hair and she covered her mouth and boy, looking fine. Sandra, your eyebrows are very distracting here. I think this is the first commentary track I've done for a movie starring Sandra Bullock. The weird thing here, in some ways, she's a bigger star now than the leads of this movie, Stallone and Snipes. When I last saw this available, say on basic cable, this was a few months ago. The description for this movie said a Sandra Bullock is a cop from the future who has to take down a criminal who teams up with a cop from the past to take down a villain from the past. And it was like a reverse engineered, redacted, recalculated, retroactively stylized up feminist agenda of a description of this movie. That looks a bit like a Chevy Camaro on the left. Look at this little pod type thing he's got here. We could possibly be driving something like that. Now, take note of the way Wesley Snipes looks here. He's got a red shirt, overalls, blonde hair. He's supposed to be like Dennis the Menace, and he's getting in trouble. And that's supposed to be like this subconscious type thing you're supposed to take away from this. His yellow hairstyle, Dennis Rodman saw this movie and decided to adopt it as his own. And so when people think of like a black guy with the dyed hair, they think more about Dennis Rodman. And Dennis Rodman would then put various other colors, patterns in his hair. But he was playing for I think he'd recently gone to the San Antonio Spurs and saw this over the summer and was like, hey, I think I'm going to do that. The name Friendly, Edgar Friendly. Don't you have a job to do? He's getting these impressions. You can also see he's got that multiple eye color thing going. I forgot what that name of that condition is, but it's always something you want to know on hand just because it sounds cool. David Bowie had, but Wesley Snipes doesn't. They kind of gave it to him. Here he's got like a light eye and a light brown and a blue, but he's programmed to. This is an interesting idea here for the villain. He wants to take out this guy Friendly and his underground free speech people. Okay? How do you go about that? You get yourself a hitman. You don't have to pay. You get a hitman from the past, where the best hitmen are available. There are certain things that this movie doesn't quite get to. Look at the way how technology is so accessible in our pocket. And technology here, you have to go to a kiosk, you have to go to a station. It's not things that are on you. If we wanted to look at it more futuristically, we would say that you're not printing out tickets, you're issuing them digitally. And they stay with you in some other capacity. You can't just deny them like paper. But looking at it, well, let's wait till we get to the three seashells to get into that. These guys have to look at a manual. It's like you're going on YouTube to look up how to do something. And you have your little mobile phone out there and you're looking it up, right? These guys are watching the tutorial on how to arrest a guy during the process. Like you're a handyman mounting I don't know, the head of a buck over your fireplace. Repeat firmly, right? Yeah-oh, what do we got going on here? He should have no idea how to work this computer. Again, all of this stuff was programmed into him to, which I kind of wonder how you're able to do that if somebody's frozen. Well, how do you reach them in a frozen capacity? I guess you have the remote thing on their heart, over the heart and the mind, reaching onto them. You reprogram that, but if you're so incredibly frozen, isn't the inside of you frozen too? Nice. Though that would be very hard to do, and you can't shatter modern windshields like that. They're shatterproof. It's a laminated glass, so it'll spider web, but you're not going to have chunks fly at somebody. These guys can't fight at all. Of course, if a modern windshield can't be shattered, I would assume one in the future would also be immune to that issue. We're getting a lot more action out of Phoenix right now than we are Stallone. It's been a while since we've seen him in it. Their headset and monitors there look a bit like those found on the Nostromo. Aliens reference. So sue me. The cops are just so helpless but to watch. In some way, that's a little bit like police today. I mean, the cops feel as though that if they get involved with something, it'll result in them getting fired or arrested. So in some cases they don't do anything. In some cases they do too much. Here we're going to see your quarantine Zoom chat of the future. Now, is it that important that these everybody's head is perfectly framed inside the square and that it spins around and all that? From a world building perspective in a film, it's good to have that kind of nuance. I think it seems a bit silly though, but when I see a modern talk sports show and you have, say, Stephen A. Smith, and he's on location somewhere, they'll have a big plasma TV uh, set vertically, and it'll show him on it, and it'll sure it doesn't move around, but it's basically serving the same function here. These guys also have this fluent Asian-inspired wardrobe. There's the designer guy. Was he a designer or art gallery manager or something from Beetlejuice? I think he was also... Was he a pastor in Heathers? I believe so. I think he's dead. Be well. Everybody has their phrases of the future, right? It was so blatantly sadistic. It was fun for him. Could those glasses catch on? Come on, wait. In the future, you have a better alternative to glasses, right? I'll tell you what. Soft contact lenses are far superior to glasses. Far superior. What are we going to do? I dig their futuristic cop uniforms. They don't have a template to go on the way Judge Dredd did. And I thought Judge Dredd's uniform in the first Judge Dredd film was actually better than the Dredd that people like more. You know, what was it, 2011 or 20... It was around 2011, right? With Carl Urban Dredd. They called him the Demolition Man. That's the kind of phrase you have for a movie trailer. Gotta have somebody say the name of the movie, right? Let's look at his files. You know, it's not as simple as at the time of this film where you look up and read someone's files. Your file is a series of videos, and that's getting to be the way things are. When people look you up, they'll be looking up what you did on video. Oh, there he is with long hair. Ooh, we got an F-bomb out of a little girl. Is that a Red Hot Chili Peppers poster? Hasn't worn a shield in 40 years. I don't think it's been 40 years. Wasn't it 2032? We took place in 96 at the beginning. It's kind of amazing no one has set fire to the Hollywood sign. Yeah, this is needlessly complicated, machined up stuff, and they used to actually build things for movies to do stuff. That is the way things were. This whole arm, all of this would be CGI now, and it would either be apparent to those old enough to respect older films, or it would be entirely forgotten by the layman in the crowd, right? Like no one would everybody would just forget the scene altogether. Look at this, we got to actually CG etch him out here, like some whiz-bang effects for 93, really. That's not a bad CGI rendered model for the purpose. It's good that he's basically Iceman there instead of actually naked Stallone in that shot. Like, much prefer that. Man, Stallone was jacked in his 40s. I'll tell you, man. Like, look at the quads. Cryocon, right? The police charter, huh? You collect the 90s, now you have to bring them to life? You gotta find somebody from Phoenix's time, a guy who brought Phoenix in to catch him again. It's not unsound logic. Linnea Huxley, what is it? Lenina? I had a wife. What happened to my wife? Well, best you don't think about that. Her light was extinguished. The big one of 2010. Earthquakes. It was thought that earthquakes were going to be a much more common occurrence in Los Angeles because there was a big one in 94. So that was actually before this movie. They're talking up these earthquakes, and oddly enough, earthquake would happen, but then it's like they don't really have a big one after. You would think they would have had two big ones by now, since 94. Phoenix, what? The guy whose name I shout when I jump out of helicopters? Murder, death, kills so far, huh? Like, just imagine you're Stallone here and you're like, trying to come to grips with, what's going on. Uh, San Angeles, where? The Santa Barbara, Los Angeles? It merged in 2011. Yeah, we're gonna have to look up what a Marlboro is. We've known about smoking not being good for you for my whole life. They mention alcohol and caffeine, these things, and these are kind of things that were contraband in Judge Dredd also. I remember in the Judge Dredd Super Nintendo game, which by the way was not bad, that you were gunning down people and arresting them because they had caffeine. They're caffeine dealers. Now look, this gag with the tickets will only work if you are standing next to one of these printers. Okay, so your conditions for your parole: full reinstatement. You have to go get this guy. It's like you're given like a job to do while you're in prison. Man, it would take him so long to get caught up to speed. There's no telling what kind of wreckage Simon could lay in this time. Here we go, the bathroom. Yep. Uh, Given the cool handshake here. We're not used to physical contact greetings. Oh, germs. But you're out of toilet paper. This is one of the most memorable things about this movie, the concept that something has replaced toilet paper. And back in the 20th century, these wadded up handfuls of paper, but now we have the three seashells. You got a shelf with three seashells. The joke ongoing in this film, Rob Schneider, of course, also in Judge Dredd, adding to the confusion. They never explain how to use the three seashells, and there's been uh, people have taken to liberty some guesswork on how maybe there could be a way to scoop with these three seashells. My question is, are the three seashells perishable, or is this like a permanent fixture and everybody shares the same three seashells? Let that ruminate. in the most profane manner. Insecure heterosexuals bond. Oh, okay. See, we're coming in with a lot of jokes here. This is a funnier movie than Judge Dredd. Fortunately, while you're sleeping, everyone in the city was installed in code. It was a brilliant idea, Dr. Cocteau. Listen, is this not sounding a lot like what Bill Gates wants to do in this uncertain time, right? We need to make sure that everybody has their digital passport showing their immunizations. You know, as you get closer to putting things under people's skin, right? I mean, there's people with chips underneath. Oh, it's a convenient way for me to get to work without having to keep my key card on me. Oh, okay. I mean, you take one step closer to putting electronics in the person, and you may as well make everybody a cyborg because it gets you start to blur the line as soon as you cross it. Uh, some of these people don't have a huge role here. Like Rob Schneider, I think he's basically checked out of the movie at this point. Benjamin Bratt here gets to play a cop before he's on Law and Order, before he seduces Julia Roberts. Giggity. That's just my chair. It's leather, if you hear that. We gotta go get a gun. Oh, we're gonna have to go to like the LA Riot Museum. Look at these like robes people are wearing. The earth tones. The fashion is not quite where we are, but we have another 12 years to catch up. The Hall of Violence. Ah, yes, these old times of primitives. Look at the past. Now everybody has been issued docile commands, hey? You know, it seems like this would be a good future. Oh, everybody's calm, civil, you don't even have to shake hands, right? But then you always end up with an outside force that causes an issue. If we had people that were so unattuned to violence, standing up for themselves, all that, where's the Middle East at, right? Where are the third world countries that could rise up, or the powers across the world? Alien forces, how would we deal with that, right? We got cheap interior with some knobs there. It's not climate control, it's AC. You have to attune manually. Kind of a small car for a sedan. Not sporting a lot of trunk space. But hey, it's got that electric kind of whirl about it. We don't go into detail about the propulsion system. But electric cars have caught on. People are a little into the jingles from old commercials. I mean, it's not exactly a thing with us, but entertainment is very commercial. I think there is something of a dig on that. Can you get Armour hot dogs? It's not the fridge, it's the freezer. Come on, John. Dang. Pretty good hit on the head right there. You know, consider what you have to do here as someone who's doing the art direction for this movie, and you have to come up with all these costumes for various stages just for this hall of violence and future war scenario, riot breakouts that didn't happen, aren't even integral to the movie. They tried to come up with uniforms for, like, say, 2010. What seems to be your boggle? No one says that, but at the time, boggle's not far off from Google. No one knew what a Google was, which is just a large number. I can use a person to break this. That's what I'll do. Look at the orderly way people escape in panic. They're not even used to panicking. They must not have fire alarms. The phase guns, what, in the 40 watt range there? Look at a futuristic riot cop type scenario here, huh? Magnetic accelerator. We got ourselves a rail gun. Where do you find batteries in the future? What, Radio Shack? And there, yeah, he says Radio Shack. Radio Shack really was a place where you got stuff. We're a little spoiled by the way batteries work with lithium ions today. So many things come with their own rechargeable battery. In the 90s, you were chewing through AA's and AAA's. In some cases, I mean, like that gun right there is probably the D cell. Huh? What was that? I don't think it was that important that we needed that shot, honestly. Excuse me, Rambo. Wink, wink. Oh dear. Glow rod, does it work? Well, jeez. I wonder what the long-term damage is from getting glow rotted to the head. You guys wait here. Honestly, they would just be a handful. They're better off waiting. The Armory. Ooh, wow. And okay, so they sealed the Armory. I'm guessing he used a cannon there, but yeah, there's smoke coming out of it, but we don't see the cannon shoot. Usually you'd want to show someone firing the cannon. I think it was a few days ago, Stallone had said on Instagram there is a Demolition Man sequel in the works. This is not a franchise, guys. There's nothing beyond Demolition Man because it's so integral that you have the cop frozen, the fish out of water, the equal fish out of water scenario of the villain, and after you get past that, there's really nothing left. Stallone is kind of in this cash grab phase where he's like, look, I know I can't do what I used to do, but I can still make money off of what I was. Let's franchise whatever we can. There's no one was asking for more escape plans, but instead they did, and Arnold Schwarzenegger had enough like integrity to not go that route. So what do? They bring in whatever actors they could from anywhere else. John Tucker Must Die and Dave Bautista, who really can't say no to anything. I like this display. You get to look at the seedy underground. You walk over it. Man, we have like so many actual squibs and blanks being shot, and yeah, it's beautiful. Oh, charged up my railgun. There were some video games for Demolition Man. Haven't played them. Can't really uh, say much there. It it was a bit irregular to have a guy who did a lot of kicks in a film who wasn't going to be Asian, wasn't going to be Jean Claude Van Damme. Wesley Snipes, not the first African American to do the martial arts thing on screen, but in action movies that were more gun attuned, he would occasionally do some kicks. I think he has some background in it, but it's not like something he's famous for. That was not Sylvester Stallone there swinging that television. Oh, come on, that should have knocked him out in the movie. It's almost explosive. So you're telling me that they actually had a pipe for water in that fire hydrant for this little display? Kind of find that doubtful. Oh, what's that car doing for grill if it's electric, eh? Noble facility desecrated by hooligans. You guys know you've made it when your wild idea is met with all due respect. Hold on. Can't seem to do anything to this guy. I'll get you with the next shot. I don't think so. Huh, I can't. No kiss kiss, no bang bang. There is a movie called Kiss Kiss Bang Bang. And we're learning here who is behind the freeing of, or almost the servitude of Phoenix. It seems a bit comical that the guy they're going after is named Edgar Friendly. I mean, he's one of the less friendly people of the time. It's oh gosh, do I have to look up his name? What? Conan O'Brien's cousin. What's his name? Oh gosh, he's from The Ref, Rescue Me, Judgment Night. I have to look this up like a dummy. I'm gonna feel stupid. I mean, heck, his name was there in the credits. Yeah, we actually had credits at the front of a movie back then. Dennis Leary. Oh man, I was going to guess Dave, but Dennis Leary. We'll see him later, and he's basically just kind of free flowing his stand up routine, his ranting, uh, sort of a stream of consciousness type style. To capture the memory. Oh yes, I did right. Yep. I do recall the exploits of Mr. John Spartan. This is a Warner Brothers movie. I'm almost surprised that this wasn't somehow yanked from Hulu and placed on the HBO Max, which has a variety of shows that were not on HBO. Friends, for matter. Saw a recent poll on Bing saying, which sitcom He got two choices, had the better cast. And it was like 59 to 41, Friends over Seinfeld. Blasphemy. Be well. It's almost like you got this cult figure who is leading society, but without this kind of religious implication thing. It's the most important man in St. Angeles. I have to wonder what outside St. Angeles is like. Could they not have gotten cops from Oklahoma City? Money's outdated. All transactions are through codes, not unlike Apple Pay. Yeah, mugging people's waste time. The thing about that is, it's like, hey, you steal my iPhone. It can't do you a lot of good if you don't have the password. We'll just wait for him to kill somebody. That moon they had to put in with some matting, but the Schwarzenegger Library and what? Hold it? The Schwarzenegger Library? Yeah, it's presidential library. Wasn't he an actor? The 61st Amendment allows him to run for president. Though president's a bit of a reach for comedic effect, they are somewhat accurate in the political ambitions. Becoming California's governor. The manhole covers the future. Who has the last name Friendly? I didn't do anything. Reward his dinner at Taco Bell. Yeah, I like Mexican food, but come on. The only restaurants to survive the pizza wars. Taco Bell was given a futuristic 2032 logo for this movie. And at the time, Taco Bell had that brown, very very straight on style. The bell stood vertically. A brown exterior. I think it was like a yellow, green, and red stripes in the bell. And they liked this logo so much, they decided to redesign their logo and make it look a little bit between the two. And that's what you ultimately get out of Taco Bell's current logo. And the color scheme's kind of there. There's like a purple. You'll see. I think realistically, it would have been a better choice to go with Pizza Hut. I mean, if you already had the pizza thing for the European market, Pizza Hut was super popular too. I mean, Pizza Hut, hey kids, we're going to Pizza Hut. That's like the type of thing that happens after you win a soccer game when you're like 8 years old. You go to Pizza Hut. Salt's not good for you, hence it's illegal. What spices are they putting in Taco Bell that allowed them to survive the franchise war? You know, this movie does a really good job with putting all these little things together to make you think about afterwards. Oh, it was madness. People were cocooning inside. Yes, but now we made everybody civil. It's almost too weird for us to think that by the end of the movie, maybe they split the difference, but it's not as to say that they want the society depicted of 1996. You had feelings, you had thoughts in there. Nightmare for 36 years. So, were you saying that you could actually see people as they visited? Awake in that sense? And we kind of slowed down the movie to give ourselves a little bit of a talk here. Oh no, it's one of those things again. What is that? Hey, we got a biker out there who's looking a little bit road warrior. It's the underground. Yeah, cops are just all about hunches in the 90s, guys. I got a hunch. Now I need to let the bullets fly, right? Oh no. We're breaking in to steal the tacos. See that fuchsia, rose red, gold. Well, there might be some gold there, but the purple, that's in tune with Taco Bell's current logo setup. Oh no, they're fighting. This is sort of the setup for a lot of the future get-ups. It's like you have to look like you were in the Road Warrior. You need weapons like the Road Warrior or Mad Max Beyond Thunderdome. We need shoulder pads. I would actually have to see the HD version of this film elsewhere to understand if it was Taco Bell uh, and Pizza Hut shot or it in places, or if they digitally replaced the Taco Bell logo with Pizza Hut. And I think there could be some circumstances where it was digitally replaced, but I haven't seen that cut in HD, so I couldn't really tell you. I mean, you just I think I've seen some grainy YouTube stuff. Really, these people are stealing food and they're the bad guys? What about living wage? Hurting people's not a good thing. Sometimes it is, but when it's for people looking for food. That's a sweet looking structure, kind of airport like. Oh, it was so hot watching you rough up the Beyond Thunderdome gang that I want to take you back to my place. I mean, this guy has had an eventful day. I just do my job. Things get demolished. Yes. Demolition Man was probably not the best title for this movie. It makes you wonder what it's about. Maybe there could have been something more about being unfrozen and reawakened. Um, I mean, heck, even Cryocon, in reference to the, what they're labeled, could have possibly been a better title, more descriptive. Action movies didn't have particularly descriptive titles in the 90s. It was kind of like, what sounds cool? Maximum Risk. Speed actually is a descriptive title. Trying to think, what are some other not so descriptive titles of action films in the 90s? Yeah, some of them they get pretty literal. Cliffhanger. Wish I knew, but I got the passcodes. Look at that gigantic fireplace. Come on, fire can't be the best way to heat things, right? We're doing our carbon emissions, right? Something like that. Polluting. Do only the rich people get fires? Oh, now he's got his Road Warrior armor where it's like tire tread adorned. You feel like a lot is missing from this film. Like where? Okay, so you're telling me Snipes went down into the sewer to kill Friendly, and we never got a scene of it, and he just changed his mind and was like, "Hold on, I want to go talk to Cocteau a bit more about this and negotiate." So where did he get the armor? Did he have a fight with some of Friendly's people? Steal this off of them? It kind of makes you wonder how he's able to get out of doing the job, as he tried to kill this guy Cocteau and he couldn't because of the programming. He's programmed to go get Friendly, and yet somehow backed out of it. You took care of Spartan once, you'll get him again. I kind of feel like he apprehended you. I feel like you see a lot of the same exteriors. You do see a lot of the same cars. That red Camaro-esque car over there. This shot's not in the best of focus. Ah, yeah, look at all the nostalgia stuff I managed to collect. We have the Asian-styled door. He's got something of a kimono gi on. Well, no, between sex and violence, not so much that cause. She gives a similar statement here about how it's shown in studies that relationships from a traumatic event don't last, as she says in Speed. I'm turned on by the violence. Go ahead and tell them. Huh? What? I mean, I was all caught up in my wife being dead, but you tell me she's been dead for a while. I mean, she died in the big one, 2010, right? So, I mean, yeah, sure, it's been 22 years. Great, I'll go get the VR equipment. VR, it's like I was saying, it was a big promise in the 90s that never came to fruition. It never got a consumer model that was affordable or practical or good. of any real quality or substance, but it could possibly catch on. It's always a looming promise. It's not like something that, well, it had its shot. It's like we keep improving it very gradually. The PlayStation's very much into the VR. The Xbox is not. The Xbox is about having your 4K, your 8K in high frame rates. Now, there is some debate over here about the flashes of nakedness that we see. Is that Sandra Bullock? I would say unlikely, but remember, she's not a star at the time of this movie. So there's a possibility of it. Sort of like in the Matrix, it's not you don't need a display in front of your eyes. It's the imagery is in your head. It is such a reach to think that they would go to this kind of length and to ever think that this could catch on. I mean, because there is a proximity here already. People would go for the cheaper route of actually boning. You got to get little humans somehow, right? The Love Boat. You'd probably pull off these kind of shots with a fast shutter with light. You broke contact. Contact? I didn't even touch you. A lot of citing of the medical journals that have produced the alpha waves, right? Oh, you mean fluid transfer? Ew. I mean boning, the wild mambo. The hunka chunka. I've never heard of this hunka chunka. Yeah, kids. Well, yeah, having a shitload of awful kids would be a leading cause for the downfall of society. All fluid transfer acceptable behavior. Yeah. Damn, I was a good kisser too. You go to a lab. I think more and more people are going to labs. I think a lot of our lifestyle choices have left more people, a higher percentage of people infertile than used to be the case. Maybe keeping that phone in your pocket could have something to do with it, guys. Gals. Though girls probably keep theirs in a purse. Oh no, you are getting shown the door. And am I mistaken, or is he set up like across the hallway from where she lives, conveniently enough? Here, okay. How do I use this? Oh, great, there we go. Code accepted. Be well. Everybody wants to use that catchphrase. It's like in The Simpsons when Nelson managed to replace goodbye with smell you later. Man, smell you later sounds incredibly perverted now, doesn't it? I want to make sure I've got a shirt that doesn't really have sleeves, everybody needs to see the gun show. So you got the 3 seashells there, so he's going to have to cuss up a storm to use that toilet paper. Again, I don't think they'd be frivolous enough to be printing off the tickets like that. Look at this vertical TV. Much of this scene is incredibly unnecessary. It's like there's like a twin CD right there. Pops that in. I mean, there's a tiny little bit of world building here, but we already talked about the 3 seashells. I guess we could have shown them earlier and had that gag used sooner. He goes into the police bathroom, sees the 3 seashells, comes out, so he gives a talk. Now look at this. You got the naked girl there. I think she was in Penthouse, like Pet of the Year or something. what you essentially had there was the first cam girl. And by the way, I coined the term cam girl, used as a compound word, CAMGIRL, in one word. But the odd thing here is that we don't have webcams at the time of this movie. No one's doing anything like that. I mean, sure, it's more akin to like a Skype call or a video call right there, but I mean, it's the same sort of experience, right? And incredibly random. I swear we rented this on VHS from Blockbuster, and was I just looking the wrong direction for a split second? Because I would have known that there was something on screen with a unclothed woman. I'm trying to say this in ways that won't spark the interest of YouTube. John's been programmed to knit, and he knitted a sweater. Everybody was given these helpful little life skills to make them domesticated. And that's the rehabilitation program. Heck, in some ways, it could be more beneficial than what we have today, where cons get out. I mean, people were released over the virus, and commit murder and go back in, like within a day. Like, they really wanted to get that murdering in. Fucking Bob in a wheat throw rug with my eyes closed. Each genetic fear matches a skill or trait suiting the genetic disposition. What was his genetic disposition that said knitting? I'm a seamstress? Phoenix comes out, says computer, he knows where everyone's located. He's 3 times stronger than when he went in. Question mark. In what way is he stronger? I'm not seeing the strength on screen to like demonstrate this. Oh no, I'm a cop and access is denied. There's a long ongoing issue with police being unable to get to certain files in 90s movies. We saw it in Bad Boys when I did the commentary on that. Francine, can you please get us the parole jack on Noah Tropicante? He develops these programs. Well, Cocteau, of course, the guy everybody keeps mentioning and whose whole life revolves. When we go ask, you don't accuse the savior of our city of being connected with a multi-murderer death killer. It's rude. I'm good at being subtle. Mellow greetings? I thought it was a be well. Look at these little hats we got going here. Like we think we're sailors, kind of. What are those little sailor hats called, and is there any practical function? Do they still use them? I'll run this. Very subtle. Oh, he's on every screen, huh? Somehow he doesn't kill you. Interesting. He's got demolished stuff. Man, I think that guy may have had just as goofy of a haircut in Beetlejuice. Uh-oh. Found him. You got this maniac under control. There's a name for this kind of belt style where you have the shoulder thing going. I'm trying to recall what dictator had that. It might have been Mussolini. I think liked belts like that. It's not a good look for police to have a design evocative of dictatorship. It's really not. Be well, be effed. You're fined. Oh, you want to keep finding me? Now this gunshot makes him fall down. That purple car in the background on the left there, that is the I think that was a 1992 or 93 concept car. It might have been 93 actually, concept car, the Corvette Stingray concept. In some ways, its flowing lines would be incorporated to some extent in the C5 Corvette of 1997. But yeah, you could throw in a bunch of concept cars that never made it out into the wild, and you'd call those futuristic, and that's how you would make a futuristic set of cars for your movie. He was in a place he can't monitor, the sewers. Put him in a hurt locker. Ah, yes, a hurt locker, guys. I see. I don't think a lot of people understood what that means, and even in the movie, the hurt locker, it wasn't terribly clear, or why that movie would be called the Hurt Locker. At least you have one cop who's gung ho about getting some action. No, it's not very clean. I like it. Benjamin Bratt has such a geeky, uptight, innocent walk about him and everything. Just this kind of naivete. He does a pretty good job here. Look at all the fog, the dust and things that's coming into that light, that flashlight's holding. It looks so cool. You don't see a lot of that these days. A lot of working conditions have to. There's a certain degree things have to be met. You can't have theatrical smoke. Heck, the steam is probably an issue today for some reason. What is it? Emanation? Oh yeah. They got meat, don't they? Isn't that what it is? Hamburgers. Wow. Relax. All I want's a burger and a beer. I'm gonna pay. Here, you can have her watch. That's how we're gonna pay for the burger. Yeah, very polite of you. Man, you guys even got a beer? Oh god, this is fantastic. What were they serving at Taco Bell? It makes Taco Bell look really bad, right? Taco Bell like the joke is they have the worst food. What is it? It's rat. Yeah, that's what we have. This is a rat burger. I'm gonna keep eating it. In fact, it's the best burger I've had in years. Oh, look at all the people of color down here. There's not seemingly a lot of diversity, shall we say, in San Angeles. But underground, that's where we put the minorities, right? Oh, look at that. We got a pristine muscle car. in here among all the dirty people. Pristine muscle car, just kind of sitting here chilling. Why not? Oldsmobile 442. Yeah, she knows a lot about her cars all of a sudden here. Radial tires and seat belts. I almost want to do a car review video pointing out the mundane features that people take for granted. In old car videos, say you watch Motor Week, 1982 Motor Week retro review of the past, they'll point out things like power locks and mirrors. Point that out on a modern car instead of the tech people want to hear. It'd be hilarious. Audi TTS also has this many airbags. Power operated defrosting side mirrors. Here we go. We're going to be getting his rant here about what he wants to do and his idea of freedom. That was Jack Black. I just kind of yanked the gun around on him. It was Jack Black. Early role for him. One of the first I can think of for Jack Black. However, Jack Black not he at this time he's not a stranger to appearing. His first break, his first on-screen gig, he was the excited kid lead in a Pitfall commercial. It was like, I think it might have been 1982, Pitfall on the Atari. And side order gravy fries. I want high cholesterol. I'll eat bacon, butter, and cheese. I want to smoke a cigar in the non-smoking section. Well, I got some news for you. Everything is the non-smoking section. Reading Playboy, do they still print the magazine? And if they do, I think it might be one of those bi-monthly type things. And it's always tough when you hear the term bi-monthly. Does that mean twice a month, or does it mean every 2 months? I'm no leader. I do what I have to do. Sometimes people come with me. And that's the way a good leader wants to be, not somebody who calls themselves the leader. You see Jack Black looking on with acceptance, yeah. All right, so your underground gang here has the same attire as Friendlies, but you're not really doing the same thing. It probably should have had a whole different get-up. Okay, now in the background there, Jesse Ventura, he's looking on. He's got this girl over him. I don't think he says anything. I unfroze my gang. We're going to go after John Spartan. That's what we're going to do. It's not really the best rallying cry speech. Are you with me? Are you with me? Are you with me? Yeah, yeah, yeah. Everybody agrees. Toast. You know, they had a rat burger. I wonder what they had to do for their alcohol. Thought this guy would just kill me? I'm flattered. Don't be flattered, be frightened. This guy's sure filled with nightmare. Yeah, he's just right above us, too. Oh, come on. Opening fire. There's a thing about these action movies where it seems like people shoot, and the bullets are slow enough that people can react to them as they miss with the first several shots every time, and then they're able to get out of the way. We got our big gun here. The music in this movie, it's not the most memorable, but it's also not awful. Like, it's definitely that 90s actiony vibe that you can kind of chill with. I think that's a big problem with movies lately. I know I've mentioned this before. It seems like in the past the score would be orchestral. There would be a big orchestra involved in making the score happen, and now they'll just substitute a song instead of having a score. And when they do have a score, it doesn't feel like something big. It feels like only the horn section. Getting light aliens vibes out of the score. Yeah, yell Phoenix and start shooting wildly, baby. I said something in Spanish I don't know. Oh, come on. That is not the same type of manhole cover. Not even close. Oh, so easy to steal a police car. Do we just leave these things unlocked with the doors open and all? Yeah, of course the Oldsmobile will crash a contemporary Oldsmobile location. Oldsmobile, not even a brand now, kind of kind of featured in this movie. So could Oldsmobile come back? Could we make an effort to make 2032 a thing as depicted in Demolition Man? Just as we tried to make efforts for 2015's Back to the Future Part 2? There's the LA tunnel. I mean, so many movies have to have some kind of tunnel chase. I know the tunnel is shown in Blade Runner. It looks so cool how it's the light reflects up the kind of wet looking tiles. But the first tunnel chase is probably the Terminator. Blade Runner shown for a few seconds. Actual tunnel chase in the Terminator. You have a tunnel chase in Black Moon Rising. A few other things here and there. Auto inflate. Did he really need to tell it to inflate? I mean, come on. The onboard computer can sense the tires deflated, inflate it yourself, right? All right, yeah. We are elongating the size of this tunnel. That's what we're doing. All right, we've made it out, but you don't see the tunnel. This would be very difficult to shoot because you actually need to get these cars on the road. You have only so many concept cars at your disposal, and you got to keep running them by. It's not a bad looking scene at all. Now, in a movie like Terminator 2, they did something similar to this, jumping across the car, and they'd have rear projection, a giant screen showing the background. I don't think they do that here, though. I think it's on a road, closed course. There might have been some rear projection there. You could be inside for a shot like that where it's just all fog. Yeah, or some of this. I mean, it looks better than what they do today with the green screen. I'm going to let you in a little secret. I already killed them. They were already dead. We should have seen the bus passengers captured. Like, it doesn't register with the audience when you don't meet the characters. Wow. They're going low speed there to not be seriously injured. Self-drive, no. Oh, that now it's working, huh? See, we have a self-driving car in that it drives itself. So if you're self-driving here, the self is driving it. I like the security foam concept. I think that's something we could actually implement. It could create a bad situation, whereas one, it could be suffocated. There possibly could be a way around that. Maybe it could be aerated in some way that isn't a danger. But I would have liked to have seen this developed. The foam would have to, on exposure to the usual mix of oxygen in the air, solidify and quite quickly to be beneficial. And they found that in a car wreck, it's the air padding is what keeps you alive. That's why the airbag is full of air. If it was full of water, it would be the transfer of energy. It would be too much for you still. All I need is the needle and thread. Did I really say that? Damn. You're under arrest. Oh, sure. I heard all about that. We'll talk later. We'll see. There might be an outside chance that Jack Black could talk. We're definitely going to see him here. He's on the right. Benjamin Bratt. Now you got your get up with them already, huh? Loan me 2 guns. Takes a gun off Jack Black. You can't leave, and yet I am. You can take this job and shovel it. None of her catchphrases catch on. Reliable American muscle. With how old of gasoline in it? Don't know. Now that people are terrified, I'll have carte blanche to create the perfect society, my society. The issue here is you largely did. You won the culture war. This was really an unneeded step to get rid of a thorn in your side. I mean, you got to be a real sick individual to go about it this way. Evil Mr. Rogers gives the gun to Jesse Ventura, who, by the way, looks a lot like Bill Goldberg here. Oh, jeez. What is Beetlejuice going to do here? I'm an excellent associate, sir. I'm just noticing those gloves Beetlejuice over there's got with the like stockings over the hands. Now the henchmen of Simon are going to just be pretty expendable. And I don't think we ever see what comes of Jesse Ventura. Like, he's just not here anymore. Oh, she can fight. Hung out with him, had a couple minutes of the virtual sex, and then we were in on it. Impressed. Oh, she got an MDK in. That man has died by my hands. It's either him or us. Well, yeah, there is that. Where'd you learn to kick like that? Jackie Chan movies. I don't think Jackie Chan was that big of a thing in America in '93, honestly. I realize late 70s. Or, okay, wait, it was early 80s, Cannonball Run. Um, there's a possibility people knew of him, but he doesn't really hit big in America until Rumble in the Bronx. Like they would have actually had to make that like a prediction that uh, he gets to be a thing. Otherwise, the joke doesn't work. Where'd you learn how to kick like that? I mean, what could she have possibly have said? Oh no, he's going to reanimate more cryocons. We got to stop him. Knocks her out to keep her out of trouble. Did they shave everybody down for these poses? You know, like, hey, before you go in, we got to shave you up real good, then freeze you. We don't shave the hair, though, on the top of the head. We got a lot of off screen shooting there in a very PG 13 skirting type fashion. The implication that those people were killed by the gunfire without us seeing it happen. Oh, he's figuring out how to unlock everything, isn't he? We did have a little scene with him going through his personal effects. Austin Powers' personal effects, right? I am looking at doing some commentaries on the Austin Powers films. Unfortunately, they're leaving very soon on Netflix at the end of the month. I may have to binge commentary the Austin Powers films to pull that off. That's it, the very last one. Excellent. See, we have the dead bodies there, the ramifications of it. It's a kind of way you would see done in like a Marvel film. We got mannequin butt up in the air. Diving, dual wielding. I always like that kind of shot. It's very John Woo-esque. Now remember, in the Expendables, he's very much the beret wearing, black dressed, dual pistol type. Did he have 6-shooters? I'm trying to recall. Oh. I'm assuming that's plastic or foam. You don't really want to accidentally clamp down on their star, right? Long arm of the law. Oh, yeah, we're getting our punny jokes in. Wesley Snipes is pretty good here. I mean, he's having a ton of fun in the role. Well, you're one of the more interesting villains of the time. I say he's one of the more interesting villains, but he's certainly not a deep villain by any means. We don't know what's driving him. He doesn't have a motivation. We know he's bad. I think that in a lot of films today, they do too much to make the villain sympathetic, and then you start to think the good guy is actually the villain. Oh man, how long do you think they spent keeping stunt guy Stallone, who, whatever they need in this clamp for these shots? This could have been a whole day's shoot. He froze it and made it breakable. Really cool set. I wonder if they recycled this, used it for something else. And we're gonna have like this freezing gun. There we go. Yeah, that's a cool effect. I could see that actually looking worse now. Ah, it's akin to Arnold's. Ah. You can't do a Demolition Man without Wesley Snipes. You have no logical way to bring him back. It doesn't make sense. They closed gap right there, didn't they? They were further apart. Cut to punch to the head. Yeah, see, he gets in these like martial art moves with these like little stiff poses afterwards, which gives him this kind of martial arts aesthetic. Not, does he say today? Isn't that what he says? Is this the strength of 3 times stronger that we're seeing here? Not an awful fight. I've seen way worse fights of late in movies. I mean, look, you have this level of carnage going on. The set. Oh, we gotta look at the mannequin junk there. Yep. Are all the Cryocons men? What do we got here? The magical ball. This is not dissimilar to the trap put on Spartan earlier in the film, where he had hit the petrol and it made the fire, right? Okay, now that lightning slash freeze is not the best thing going, but come on, that's sweet. We got the thing swirling around. It comes together, doesn't it? You did lose your head and it shattered. This isn't going to be some kind of Futurama. We put the head in the jar. This is a shattered head. We're not coming back from that. Don't give me no BS. Things have to freeze, then catch fire. But look, the freezing made it easier to escape the bars. Like, this is pretty well thought out. And of course, because he's the Demolition Man, the building has to go. We're seeing some digital flame effects there. Those flames are put in post. That's like matte painting with flame kind of look, or rather composite. Well, you apprehended the villain. And when I say apprehended, cryo prison, that's history too. Thank God. Terrible place. How will we live? Well, we go drinking. No. Let's split the difference, guys. somewhere in the middle. I don't know. You'll figure it out. I'm going to associate Bob. I don't think this guy's under arrest or anything. Let's talk about your hair. Pick a color, all right? Lose the kimono. So we're going to be ditching the kimonos, huh? Is that going to be Demolition 2? No kimonos? There would be no way in hell Sandra Bullock would be aboard a Demolition Man 2. So, you take her out of the equation. It seems like we're Demolition 2 in name only, if that's the case. A little bit of fluid transfer, I kind of like it. I'm going to transfer some fluid. Oh, yeah. Giggity. Now you demolished everything. It's like they came up with the title of the movie on this, hey, what do action heroes do? It seems like they cause a lot of damage, don't they? They seem to destroy just as much stuff as they fix, if not more. We could name a movie that. The guy who destroys everything? Yeah, sure we do. Yep, never saw what came of our beloved Jesse the Body Ventura, did we? So there you go. That's Demolition Man. I enjoy this movie. I think you guys did too. There's Jack Black mentioned as a wasteland scrap. Yes. Jesse Ventura doesn't even have a name for his character. He's just one of the Cryocons. Maybe Cryocon would have been a better title. What do you think? Let me know in the comments below. Till next time, adios.